Well, welcome to Canascap Palmer State Park in Washington State. And luckily, there's no flooding. We've had our fair share of weather over the past few weeks, but it's a great morning to be out here this morning, and I'm pretty much by myself with the exception of one ranger over by the river. But if you haven't seen my last video, I was in Salt Lake City to pick up this 2025 Vancraft Allterra. It's a Mercedes Sprinter 170 camper van, and I thought I would spend this morning giving you a review of the outside and taking a little tour at some of the modifications I've done. And then after we're finished here, we'll go back to my house and I'll do a full interior tour. So without any further delay, let's get started and I'll talk to you about the modifications I've done to the outside of this camper van. So last week after I came back from Salt Lake City, I took this van down to Portland to Al Vans, Al Offroad in Portland. And they did a number of modifications that I'm going to talk to you about today. First of which is this Al Pismo bumper. I think it looks amazing in the front. It gives it a more aggressive stance than the factory look. And inside of this bumper, I have an integrated 12,000 pound Warn winch with an Al attachment point. I have a triple R 21-inch Elite light bar. And I also have two Baja Designs LP6s that give off an enormous amount of amber light to kind of cut through that fog or dust. These are wired up to independent switches inside, but yeah, the front of the van looks amazing, and let's go around to the side. For wheels and tires, I opted for the 17-inch Al Talon wheel with the BF Goodrich all-terrain KO3 tires. These are in 265/70/17, which is a moderate width. It still gives me decent fuel economy as I'm going down the highway. For the suspension, I opted for the Al Trail suspension, which upgrades the factory, also raises the rear end by adding an additional leaf, and that has the van, or causes the van to sit level in its stance, which I think looks really good. It also moderates the ride and helps with that sway if you happen to be passing a tractor trailer or if you end up in a lot of side wind. So, in addition to the wheels and tires that Al Offroad added in, along with the suspension, some of the options from the factory are these factory running boards or side steps, both for the passenger side for the slider door and the front, and also a small one for the driver's side. I had them add a Fiamma F45 awning. It's a manual awning, so no electronics to go sideways when we're out in a remote area. And so that's about it on this side. We'll walk around to the back and take a look. Well, on the back of the van, you can see I've made a number of modifications. I guess most prominent of which is this Al Monster 30 box. And works great on the back of the van as a utility storage box, extra storage for additional gear. Namely of which, things like propane that you don't want to store in the passenger compartment. I can tuck those away in my Monster 30 and I don't have to be worried about that. Also, people put their trash in here too, as they don't want to smell up the passenger compartment. But yeah, an Al Monster 30 box should come in really handy. This is also attached to the B2 Pro on the passenger side here, and I have two 1-up bike trays. Each of these bike trays will support up to 50 pounds each. And so these will be great for bringing mountain bikes along and exploring while we're out with the van. On the driver's side, left-hand side, I have the Al spare tire and ladder carrier. The spare tire is a full-size spare, another KO3 here. And at the base here, for things like helping to make the bed and accessing higher points, I have the Al integrated hitch step added to the base just above the hitch. It actually doesn't affect the hitch functionality. I still have full access to my 2-inch hitch receiver, but I have this really helpful step here, especially, as I said, to help in making the bed. Well, not too much to talk about on the driver's side of the van. I will say one of the accessories that you can't see that I purchased from Al is also a small one. It's actually the least expensive too, is a magnetic Starlink mini mount, and it's attached to the roof. All Vancraft vans come standard with an SAE connection, a power connection on the roof adjacent to the solar panels, and that's wired to a switch inside the cabin that you can turn on and turn off your Starlink Mini. So that works great for me. I have my Starlink Mini permanently attached by that magnetic mount on the roof. It sits right behind my solar panels, and so that gives me internet access anytime I have clear access to the sky. So that about does it for the outside of the van. we're going to pack it up, go back to my house, and I'll continue this with an interior tour. All right, well, welcome to part 2 of this van tour. I'm back at my house. It's actually 2 days later than when we were out at Canascat Palmer State Park. But yeah, came here to my house. It's a foggy and cool morning. Good time to take a look inside. And before I do, just a couple things on this particular build. This Vancraft Allterra has a 600 amp hour lithium battery bank, a 3,000 watt inverter, 40 gallons of fresh water, and a 20-gallon gray water tank. No black water. I'll talk about that in a minute. And this is a completely off-grid system. So while this particular van does have a 30 amp connection to charge the battery, it's designed and built to be completely off-grid. So we have 300 watts of solar on the roof, and the van will charge, the batteries will charge as you're driving with a DC to DC connection. So that really keeps the batteries topped off. Very rarely do you really need to plug it in. So anyway, a little bit different than a typical RV, but let's go inside and take a look. This is the standard Mercedes-Benz cockpit, and this particular unit has the MBUX entertainment system. I've also added a Bullet Point Mounting Solutions mounting plate. That allows me to mount my cell phone on the driver's side, and then other accessories on the right-hand side of the plate. Both of these chairs do swivel to give you additional seating options in the living space. The Allterra's signature addition is this included wet bath. And in addition to the shower, I have added a Laveo dry flush toilet. So we have both shower and toilet privacy in this included wet bath, and a removable bamboo floor to keep your feet dry. The galley area is nicely appointed with the Dometic 75L refrigerator and a heated and electrically controlled sink with both hot and cold running water, an induction cooktop, and this new addition in 2025 is what Vancraft calls the tech stack. And so this includes all of your switching and control mechanisms, to include the Renogy battery monitoring controller, the 3 light switches for the ceiling lights, the kitchen lights, and this roof auxiliary switch is to turn on the Starlink on the roof. This is the diesel heater, the Renogy 3,000 watt inverter, and then a standard 110 volt outlet, as well as 4 USB plugs. There's plenty of storage in a Vancraft van. These cabinets are made in-house, and this is 3/4 inch Baltic birch wood with a Wilson Art laminate on both sides. It's actually the same material that they use in their rental fleet, so it gets a lot of abuse and holds up really well. A signature feature on Vancraft vans is this included latch mechanism. This actually comes from the sailboat industry, and it works really well to keep your cabinets from opening while going down the road. So you just actually insert your finger, pull on the little tab, and it releases the locking mechanism. So all of the drawers have this sailboat-inspired locking mechanism. Something else unique to Vancraft vans is the sleeping arrangement. So you can actually sleep east-west here if you're about 5'8" or shorter. But if you're a taller individual, just to maximize living space, we convert this bed back into part of the sleeping surface. And now you have 6 feet 8 inches of sleeping north-south and a queen bed in width. So again, it gives you maximum comfort and maximum versatility when you're sleeping, but also maximizes the limited space that we have inside a van for when you're not sleeping, so you have much more living and social space. Below the horizontal bench is a storage drawer and the 3,000 watt inverter, and something that you don't see very often in camping vehicles or RVs, and that is this IsoTemp 3-gallon electric hot water heater. This actually also comes from the marine industry, and you see them more on ships than you do in RVs. But with 3 gallons of hot water, it gets up to about 220 degrees Fahrenheit and has a mixing mechanism in the front to mix with cold water to give you the maximum amount of usable hot water. And now, when we open up and look under the side bench, you can see that this area is 100% dedicated to additional storage. And lastly, on the passenger side is this included side table with storage. And we have a 110 volt inverted outlet, as well as 2 USB-C and 2 USB-A plugs. I use this for storage of electronics, and I also have a mount for my 13-inch iPad that I can mount to the side of this table surface and kind of use it like a TV. So that kind of wraps it up with an overview of the living space. So let's go outside and I'll show you in the garage area. Starting at the top, this is an insulated partition that I optioned from the manufacturer, and it gives you some insulation between the sleeping area and the 2 rear doors of the van. Moving down to the right-hand side, we have a control panel with a gauge indicator for the status of the freshwater tank, a switch for the water pump, and a switch to turn on and off the garage lights. This is where we fill the fresh water, as well as this is a selector switch to have the water on, which is on now, or we can turn it for quick winterization. This is an access panel to drain the freshwater tank. And all the way at the bottom, we have an air connection here for quick winterization, as well as a quick connect for the exterior shower, which is in fact mounted to the passenger side door and includes a 1-pound propane tank. And this is a quick heater for your exterior shower. Well, all right, I'm going to wrap it up because it's still raining off and on. And it's cold. So this is the back of the garage area. So it's basically open storage. One thing I did want to point out is I added this IceCo. This is the APL 55. It's a 55-quart refrigerator freezer combo. And it's highly customizable. You can either use it as all refrigerator, all freezer, or divide them between the two. It has great reviews online. I've now had it connected and installed for about a day. I have it on eco mode, and with the compressor running, it's drawing between 1.5 and 2.5 amps. So that's really good and really efficient for pulling off the 12-volt system here in the van. The rest of this, as I said, is just open storage. We have this foot platform for the exterior shower to keep your feet from getting dirty. But one thing I did want to point out that I optioned from the manufacturer is this T-mat system. And so it comes with these accessories that allow you to position it in the T-mat and lock them in place. And that allows you to kind of manage your load and keep it from shifting around. The other benefit that this T-mat system serves is to absorb any moisture. So think about snowy ski gear or wet hiking equipment that you might put in your garage. You really want to protect your floor from getting constant exposure to moisture and to anything that's wet. So anything that's wet is going to drip into these recessions, and then you can use a towel or some other method to dry it out later on and protect your floors. And that's going to do it for this van tour. If you've stuck with me this long, I appreciate a thumbs up. If you want to continue to follow me along as I take this adventure vehicle out and explore, then consider subscribing. It's the holiday season, so I want to wish everyone a happy holiday and a happy new year in 2026. I'm really looking forward to it. And one thing is, in the video description below, I did include a link to some of the other equipment that I really didn't talk about. It's the equipment that I use to outfit the van. And so there's links to all of that, and there's a link in the video description below. So with all that said, thank you very much for watching. Have a safe and enjoyable holiday season. I'll see you next year, and I'll also see you in the next video.